Hey guys, it's Rimblob, and I'm going to be trying something different. I'm going to be doing a let's read of Fate Hollow Ataraxia. I have played through, obviously, if I'm playing this, but I have played through 100% the original Fate Stay Night visual novel, got 100% all 5 endings, saw the extra episode, got all 40 Tiger Dojos, and now I'm gonna play this game. Now, I have played up to the major event after Night 4, I believe, where, I guess, spoilers, where you get shot on the bridge. I've read up until that part because I actually finished the original Fate Stay Night a long time ago, like a couple months ago, but right when I started playing this, my computer broke and I got it back I got it back a while ago, but I've just had school, which is a thing, and I have finals right now. I actually have a final tomorrow and it's like midnight, so that's fun. So I have played a bit of this, but I still want to try and record it. So I'm gonna just start. He said he was afraid of the night. City of Shinto, Kurokizaka District, Block 4, Semina Apartments, 11th floor, room 2. That's where he lived. His name was, well, let's just call him Mr. A. Mr. A was a student and, having just turned 20, had moved in at the beginning of spring. This was the first time he ever moved, the first time he ever lived by himself, and the first time he was in an unfamiliar neighborhood. While Mr. A, an introvert by nature, still felt lost, he was adjusting to life in Fuyuki gradually. Mr. A was comfortable being alone in the first place, and never seemed to care much about having few friends or living amongst strangers. Rather, he preferred things that way. Mr. A, who would shut himself in his room, apparently liked not having his new life disturbed by anyone, be it friends or family. Mr. A was satisfied with his life, except for 2 things: the long hallway leading to the entrance, and the hopeless thoughtlessness of the family that moved in next door 1 month prior. What was unsettling him began since he moved into the apartment in spring. What his parents had set up with him was an X amount of yen monthly 4-bedroom apartment. The size was nothing to complain about. While Mr. A loved being alone, he had an inclination towards luxury and didn't favor living plainly. When it came to the dwelling, the bigger the better. To someone like him, who hated the outside world, this place was a fortress. It had to be large and solid. It couldn't be easy to reach. He couldn't relax if it wasn't impenetrable. That's right. It wasn't that Mr. A liked being alone. It was the issue of others being near. He was unconsciously afraid of someone other than himself intruding into his space. There was another reason why Mr. A chose Semina Apartments. It was the distance from the living room to the door. The long hallway was the first and last obstacle to to pass through in order to enter or leave the apartment. The 4-meter-long hallway stretched in a straight line from the living room to the door. There were neither storage rooms nor a bathroom along the way. It was an unusual hallway for an apartment to have, but it seems Mr. A took a liking to it for its length. It took up the ideal amount of space and was an ideal entranceway. The far-off separation from the entrance was not so much a medium between inside and outside. It was more of an ambiguous boundary. Sorry. It was unnatural. One could say that the hallway itself was the real entrance. Damn, this hallway looks really creepy. And I've read this part already, so there's not really much to say. So it might be boring until I get to where I haven't read before. But yeah, I know this is... You know, I'm not going to spoil it, just in case somehow you found my channel and somehow this is your first time seeing this game. So yeah. However, once he began living there, something about the hallway started to worry him. With such splendid length, what could possibly worry him about it? After being puzzled for several months, he finally figured it out. It was simple. The long hallway had no lights. It looked like a structural flaw had left no space to install any lights. The hallways of the other apartments had them, but only in room 2 of floor 11 were they forgotten. How stupid, yeah. Not the worker that forgot to install lights, but himself, who had noticed only now after living there for several months. Come to think of it, he had already made a wrong turn the moment he had failed to realize what was amiss. What could it be? Fall came and new tenants moved in next door. They were the kind of happy family you could find anywhere. A young married couple and a 3-year-old daughter. The only contact he had with them was limited to a simple greeting when they were moving in. All Mr. A knew about them was their surname and the daughter's name. Can't you just make up? Can't you just make up names? I mean, it makes sense when it was revealed what this actually is, but still, you came up with Mr. A. Why can't you come up with their surname and daughter's name? Anyway, Semina Apartments is an L-shaped building with only 2 apartments on each floor. At the center is the entrance into the building, and each apartment occupies the entire horizontal or vertical part of the L. At the entrance, there is a door leading to the elevator and the emergency stairwell. Sometimes Mr. A would meet the couple at the entranceway, but on rare occasions he saw the girl alone by herself. That scared me. I forgot there was voice acting in this part. Whenever they met, she would say that. The elevator buttons were slightly above her height. It was not too high for her to reach, but for some reason, she never raised her hands above her shoulders. While he thought it was strange that a 3-year-old girl would go out by herself, he did what the girl asked. And he would see her not just on the 11th floor, but also at the entrance on the 1st floor. He would find the girl crouching in front of the elevator as he was coming home or leaving. She would raise her head and say, looking up at him, "Oni-chan, won't you push the button for me?" After having that exchange over and over again, Mr. A learned the girl's name. Oh, okay. He did not remember. Oh. He did not remember it, however, perhaps because Mr. A had no interest in other people. Instead, he called her Little Red Riding Hood because she always wore a red hood. I'll say it again. Mr. A was an introverted young man. As long as his lifestyle wasn't threatened, he didn't care about the outside world. Be it, for example, an argument heard from the other side of the wall, the sound of a little girl crying once every other day, a woman's screams that could only be described as shrieking, the girl not being able to raise her arm above her shoulders due to a neglected bone fracture, or her wearing a red hood to hide the bruises on her face because her father told her to. Well, the stuff that only concerns other people. The ruckus of the neighboring room was only about a meter away from the door, but who could blame him? It was, after all, a long hall. The source of the screaming was several meters away, and he inevitably had to ignore it while watching TV. But on that night, it was especially loud. A blood-curdling scream, then siren-like crying. Then the sound of a door being opened violently, reverberating in the entranceway. Then the sound of something banging on Mr. A's door. That night had been aggravating to Mr. A, who had been quietly enjoying a late-night broadcast at 2 a.m. He was about to get up and ask them to behave like reasonable human beings. And so get up he did, but soon sat back down. It'll probably end soon anyway. Their affairs were none of Mr. A's business. Butting in at this point would get him overly involved, so he avoided thinking about it. Whatever it is, it's their own responsibility. People ought to handle their own problems by themselves, and so Mr. A took the remote and raised the volume by 5 bars. By the end of the night, as he was turning off the TV and falling asleep, the usual nighttime silence had finally returned. The next day, Mr. A learned that there had been a family suicide next door. It was the first time he had ever been questioned by the police. The night before, after having an argument, Miss Blank murdered Mr. Blank with a blade. After slashing Little Red Riding Hood, her only daughter, she took her own life. When asked about it, "I slept like a hog and didn't hear anything," was Mr. A's answer. The officer thanked Mr. A for his cooperation and was about to leave. As he was walking away, Mr. A asked just one question.
一人娘はどうなったのでしょう?
Lowering his eyebrows, the officer replied,
凶器には血液反応が残っていますから、刺されたことに間違いはありません。血痕からして致命傷であったと考えられます。
Except, the young officer muttered uncomfortably.
遺体がないんですよ、どこにも。部屋にも、逃げ出した後のエントランスにも。
What happened was simple. After being stabbed by her mother, the Little Red Riding Hood seems to have managed to escape into the entranceway. At that point, however, the trail stops. The bloodstains stop in front of the elevator.
なぜエレベーターを使わなかったんでしょうね。いえ、そもそもどうして隣室のあなたに助けを求めなかったのか。いくら錯乱していたからってチャイムを押すぐらいはできたでしょうに。
Mr. A couldn't bring himself to say that either button was far out of the girl's reach. The officer left, and Mr. A remained standing in the doorway, deep in thought. 2 o'clock at night, He pictured the little girl escaped from a crazed mother, but unable to leave the entranceway, desperately banging on Mr. A's door on the verge of collapse with his tear-stained face. And in the end, it didn't even matter. The girl's body was never found. Several days passed. Late at night, always at the same time, Mr. A started noticing a strange noise. The noise itself wasn't loud. If he didn't pay attention to it, it was almost inaudible. At first, Mr. A didn't think about what it could be. He told himself that it was just wind shaking the window. But the noise came back every night. Bang, bang. It was a noise that was faint enough to be non-existent, yet it was getting on his nerves. When he realized that the noise wasn't from the window, but rather echoing in the hallway, Mr. A walked down the long hallway and brought himself to the door. He asked who it was through the intercom. No response. The moment Mr. A came up to the door, the noise which had been so soft moments ago he looked outside through the peephole. A round, distorted view. Nobody was there, just a clean-looking entranceway. Nothing except red specks on the cream-colored floor then. His eardrums felt like they were going to burst. There was no one in the entrance, but the noise did not stop. Mr. A tried to look deeper into the peephole. Maybe there was someone there. Maybe you couldn't see at this angle. The noise continued. Wait, there was something under the peephole, just outside of his view. Open it. Something red, wearing a hood, was clinging onto the door. He ran back down the long hallway. The clock was showing 2 a.m. Those late-night visits became a routine event. The noise continued every night. Mr. A never opened the door. Then, one night, it happened again. It was insignificantly quiet. He could have just brushed it off as being a part of his imagination. The evening is frightening. But now, it had been an unavoidable angst that had stained his brain, cutting away at his nerves like a blade. With each day, Mr. A's mind was being cornered. It was the end of autumn. He could now hear it no matter what time it was. That night, he came to a decision. He would see for himself what was clinging to the door. He walked down the long hallway. The light from the entranceway leaked in from behind the door, passing through the unlit corridor. He pushed the door open. There was nothing there. There was no one there. That painful knocking that had been echoing in his skull was gone as well. Of course, there was nothing. Something that ridiculous couldn't be true. There had never been any noise. There had never been a red hood. Ha ha. Ha ha. Laughter and relief mixed together. His chilled body rapidly regained its warmth. He had just been hearing things. Somehow, it seemed that incident had got into him. Without realizing it, he had felt guilty and developed paranoia. But that was all over. It all ended the moment he opened the door. Phew. Wiping sweat off his forehead, he closed the door. Once he had locked the door, he raised his head. before his very eyes. Down the long, long, dark hallway that he had been so fond of. His eyes widened. In the middle of the corridor, there was something, wearing a red hood, a familiar dead body. It seemed to be pleading at him. Somehow, Mr. A knew that it would be the last thing he would hear before his death. From within the darkness, its lips moved, like a watermelon that had been bored into with a knife. With a blood-stained voice, the Little Red Riding Hood spoke to him.
お兄ちゃん、ボタン。
So yeah, it was just a story that they're all telling each other at night. I forget this girl. I think this girl's name is Makidera, right? There were like 3 side characters in the beginning of the Fate route in the original visual novel, and I forget everything about them.
なんだよそれつまんねえよっていうかなんでそんなに演出家だったんだ
That's all those
実
visual
際見せ
effects.
ずにデテール取りすぎ芝居うますぎあと話長すぎ
Yeah, that story was long. It took like 20 minutes to read.
そもそもなんだよその絵師そんなにヤバい状態になったら引っ越
Yeah,
せ
just
もう
move.
引っ
Just
越せよ
move. October 11, past midnight, in a guest room at the Ryudo Hotel Temple. Yeah, Makidera Kaede's shrieking voice resounds to the false sky.
引っ越せってそれができたら苦労しないでしょ。あんただってあんな家出てってやるなんて言ってもう何年よ。人間ね、多少の不安より愛着を取るもんなの。みんながみんな幽霊一匹で住処を移してたら今頃この島はもぬけの殻になってるわ。
うん、眼蓄のあ
I
るこ
forget
と
her
が
name.
なるほど。我々
I
と
like
会
her
談は
voice,
切っても切れぬ関係にある。時に牧寺、長廊下のお釈子様は健在か？
いいねっつーの我が家にそんな偉そうなやつはいないねあと夜中になったら雨降ってないのに廊下が水に濡れたりもしないね祖先が瀬戸内で海賊なんてやってもいないね
そっか。マキデラんとこも古い家だったっけ。何？廊下の話は鬼門だった？
うるさい廊下なんて怖くねえ最新のおしゃれなマンションに引っ越してでその鬼門ってなんだ新しいチャクラか
チャクラを知っていてなぜ鬼門を知らん。鬼門というのは良くない方角、強調を表す言葉だ。
I did not know.
細かく言うのなら北東の方角、つまり
Tsumari. Ryudo Issei, the son of Ryudo Temple's head monk and the president of the student council. Issei, who came with us as a supervisor in his official role, briefly glances at me.
おおさすが寺の息子ちゃんとしてんじゃんそういうとこけど今はお断り私が聞きたいのはもっとコスモな話なわけ幽霊とかそういう話はお門違いだねほらもっとさ当坂んちには江戸時代に隕石が落ちてたとか冬木の地下には大空洞があ
Yeah,
るとか
stuff with
そうい
realism.
う現実的な話をしろよない
や、今のは十分に現実的な話だったと思うが、先ほどの実話だが、廊下で少女と出会ったということは、真犯人は A 氏で、廊下の壁に死体を隠蔽していた
Oh.
という話だろう。
カネちゃん、それも階段とは趣旨が違うと思う。
現実的な話をしろって言われてもね。怪談話を何だと思ってるのよ牧寺は。まあとんでも話なら当坂の管轄だから待ってればいいの聞けるんじゃない？
それはありません。
Best
マキデラさん好
girl.
みのとんでも話は知りませんから。
Tosaka counters elegantly. That's her usual manners at this sort of gathering.
そりゃ失礼。じゃあマトは1年の誰かがマト首相はああ見えてすごく怖いとか言ってたけど。
私ですか？別に怖い話が好きなんじゃなくて階段に強いだけなんですけど。ところで三つ釣り先輩、そんなこと言ったのは誰でしょうか？はあ、そういうところが怖いんだって気づきなさい、さくら。
She lets out quietly. No one here knows that To Sakarin and Mato Sakura are sisters yet. Oh yeah, so this is not a direct. This Fate Hollow Ataraxia is not a direct sequel to any of the individual routes in Fate. I think it's like a sequel to Fate Stay Night in general. So like all the servants are still alive. But everyone knows what's happened, I think. So I think like Archer, it's known that Archer is Shido in the future, and like that kind of thing. I looked it up on the wiki to see like, oh, what's Hollow Ataraxia a direct sequel to, and it said Natsu said try not to think about it, so I'm just gonna accept this game as a sequel to Fate Stay Night as a whole.
和むのはいいがまだ始まったばかりだろ。続けるのか続けないのか。俺としてはこれ以上牧寺が騒ぐのなら会を中止させなくてはならないのだが。
そうよね。眠ってるお坊さんたちにいい迷惑だし、牧寺がもう叫ばないっていうなら続けましょう。
騒いでないじゃん。三つ釣りの話がつまんないからダメ出ししただけじゃんかよ。
Oh yeah, it was so boring.
問題はそのダメ出しが次にもあるかということでしょうね。牧寺さんに我慢しろというのは呼吸をするなということと同義だから割と絶望的だけど、どう牧寺さん、呼吸止められる？
止められる。私陸上の次に水泳得意だし。
だそうですのでこのまま続けましょう。次は三枝さんかな。
Saigusa is the Dande.
けど私階段ってしたことなくて、その
I'm probably wrong, but is this Kana Hanazawa? It kind of sounds like her.
大丈夫、無理に怖がらせようと思わなくていいから。綾子のは実際あった話を脚色したたちの悪い話でね。牧寺さんが怖がったのはセミナマンションの事件を知っていたからだろうし。そうなんですか？
うん。セミナマンションの一家心中は実際にあった話だ。その1ヶ月後、隣室の青年も行方不明になり、捜索願いが出ているのも事実だぞ。
やめろよ。エイシの兄ちゃんはなんか理由あって自分探しに
Oh yes, a journey of self-discovery.
いつか一回りでっかくなって帰ってくるんだよ。もうそんなかっこいい兄ちゃんにおかしな失踪理由でチャゲるた。なんて少年の腐った女だ。三つ釣り綾子。
Yes, she's so rotten.
本当にいなくなっちゃったんですか、エイシさんって。
ああ、同じマンションの住人が言うのだから間違いない。そうだろう、三つ釣り嬢。
そういう話だからね。とまあ私ほど脚色せずとも実際にあった噂話だけで十分ってこと。牧寺は怖がりだからね。三枝さんもその線で攻めてみるといいよ。誰かに聞いたお化けの話とかない？
それなら何個かあります。皆さん窓辺の幽霊って知ってますか？2学期から広まりだした噂なんですけど。ナイス。私は初耳。 お化け洋館の人影ですよね。弓道部の1年生たちが話してたような。はい、そのお化け洋館です。何でも冬季のどこかに使われていない洋館があって、夜中に近づくと2階の窓辺からこうじーっと見つめてくる人影があるそうです。
ああ、人影ってどんな人影よ、ゆきっち。つうかさ、冬季のどこかにある洋館って何？
それは私も知らないんだけど、あんまり人が寄りつかないお屋敷じゃないかな。実際見た人がいるらしいんだけど、たまたま道に迷った時に洋館を見つけたんだって。なんでも周りは木ばっかりで人気がなくて、洋館の2階にいたお化けは女の人だったとか。
何それ、人気のない洋館で女が1人？そんなの遠坂んちじゃん。遠坂、あんたんちお化け屋敷にされてるぞ。
そうなのかな。ごめんなさい遠坂さん、この話って遠坂さんちのことだったの？
謝らないで三枝さん。うちがご近所からそういった扱いを受けているのは今に始まったことじゃないし、牧寺さんのような言われなき中傷にも慣れていますから。
Baseless slander wouldn't be entirely accurate. The Tosaka residence is actually a type of haunted house.
じゃあこの話はやめて神道の話にします。最近夜になると神道の空に何か大きな糸みたいのが見えるって話なんですけど。その糸みたいなのが何なのか。
話だけは聞いてるが、あいにくとまだ怪異には出会っていない。
空って夜空？そのセンタービルの屋上に人影が立っていたなんて話じゃないわよね。
具体的な例えだね。そりゃセンタービルの屋上に赤い人影を見たって話はよく聞くけど、三枝さん
Oh,
の
is
話は
that
別物
when
じゃなく
she
て？
was on top of the building looking down at Shiro and the beginning of the fate in the beginning of Fate Routes? Oh shit, actually wait. There's something mysterious about the way Mitsuzuri Ayako looks at Tosaka, as if she knows the truth behind that. Tosaka, who prefers wearing red, makes a sour face. It's been half a year since the fifth Holy Grail War ended. That means that she's probably still patrolling the area at night.
牧寺先輩は見たことありますか？
ない。
What is
だがお
that
そらくは
pose?
UFO。
Is it a UFO table?
私は読めたよ。
Sorry.
牧寺、あんたは階段を勘違いしてる。
そうだな。我々がしているのはオカルティックな話であってコズミックな話ではない。牧野氏、気の毒だが、いくら待っても君好みなムームー話に出番はないぞ。
What's a moo moo story?
いえ、読んでない。あんな面白おかしい電波本なんて購読してないよ私。
まあそのつまらないところがある意味たまらないのではあるが、ところで神都上空の蜃気楼の件だが。
Everyone shakes their heads. Unfortunately, there are no witnesses. However, I've been getting this feeling from a little bit ago. How should I put it?
そういう噂話なら俺からも一つ。昔から郊外の森には城が建っているという話があるだろう。それに新設が加わったそうだ。
Is that the Einsburg Castle?
何でも城を目指して森に入ると旧帝国軍の亡霊が現れて入ってきたものを戦場に送り出すらしい。で、いくつかの関門を乗り越えた勇者だけが幻の城で一泊できて メイド姉妹
Yeah,
に
it's the
解放
Iceburn
されるとか
Castle.
なんとか
It's Sella and... Oh, I forgot the other one's name. Damn it.
竜道くん何念願のアイデアで脳みそとろけちゃった
俺とておかしな話だと思っておるわ。だが実際に見た者がいるのだから仕方なかろう。
Crap. This is funny.
レミヤは今の竜道のヨタ話どう思う？
Mitsuzuri shifts the conversation to me. Up until now, I've been just an observer. Oh well, I had been keeping my mouth shut because I don't know how to comment on this, but...
どうも何も一星が作り話なんてするわけないだろ。竜道寺は森に近いし、案外本当にあるかもな。
It's not that I have no idea what it might be. Putting that aside for the moment, I feel bad about breaking the conversation, but I've got to go to the bathroom.
あれ、ちょっとトイレ。誰にも気づかれないようにスルッと戻ってくるんで、俺に構わず続けててくれ。いいところで牧寺を脅かすから。
いいじゃん、やれるもんならやってみな。私も女だ。エミヤにゃ負けられないね。
There goes Makidera, as usual, reacting in a weird way. Ever since I started having lunch with Tosaka, Makidera has been acting like this all the time. I wonder why. It's chilly outside. The night air in the mountains is cold and crisp, unlike in the city. Exposed to the cool air, my unclear head and ambiguous thoughts become more defined, waking me up. Looking up at the night sky, I let out a heavy sigh. I've already walked some 20 meters away from the room, huh? It's not every day that I find myself trying to think about something for no reason in a temple's passage.
さて。
It's not every day, yeah. What should I try contemplating first? Maybe I should try organizing my thoughts on how things ended up being like this. Speaking of things happening to me recently, there's the story of today's training camp. It involves the upcoming cultural festival. Sakura, who is working hard as the captain of the archery club, Mitsuzuri, who is looking out for her, and the strange relationship with the Fac and Trield club. At the end of a complicated argument, little by little, a training camp was being set up for the cultural festival. Issei offered the location, and I was invited as hard labor. Basically, I am in charge of the food. Life's as hectic as ever, but at least things are peaceful. 6 months ago, there was a battle for the Holy Grail with all the consequences. In that battle, something was lost and something was gained. It's been enough time to look back and reflect on those events. I've settled down. The Holy Grail War is a thing of the past. There is no reason for another conflict to spark in Fuyuki. The Holy Grail is gone, the servants have vanished, the dead won't return, and life continues without problems. There is no need for these days to change. The factors linking them together are almost all there. Linking a similar tomorrow with yesterday and enjoying the slight changes is the proper way of life for a person. My thoughts stop. I'm certain there was another reason for the... Who was that? For the training camp.
なんだ
I'm pretty sure there was something standing towards the corner of my vision just now. In the direction of the temple grounds. It's too far off to get a good look, but there is a human figure running towards the back hill. Oh, I thought it was there's gonna be a choice or something. It's probably a monk or somebody from the temple. We aren't the only ones in Ryudo Temple. I really shouldn't be worried by random people.
あ、そうそう。そんなことよりトイレトイレ。
Increasing my pace, I jogged down the hallway. Whoops. I've just bumped into someone coming from around the corner.
あ、すみま。
Gaster!
こちらこそごめんなさい。少しぼーっとしていたから。
My mind freezes. I am too surprised to even know what I'm surprised about.
けど、あなたも気をつけなさい。廊下を走るのは感心しなくてよ、坊や。
Castor walks past me. She's as refined as sarcastic as always, but seeing her face unhooded is quite rare. However, what was I so surprised about?
そうだ。キャスターってとんでもなく美人だったんだな。
She sure is. This monologue restarts my frozen mind, and I keep on going. I clear my head. Having finished my business, I'm back in the guest room.
そうして八八はよみがえった。村人たちにいびり殺された息子。可愛い我が子にもう一度会いたいという母親の狂気が死者をよみがえらせたのじゃ。じゃがよみがえった八八には至るところが欠けておった。手も足も臓物も脳みそもなかった。母親は足りない箇所を補うため毎晩捕まえて閉じ込めた村人たちから。
Issei's eyes are gleaming. I expected no less of the son of a monk. When it comes to graveyards, corpses, and karma, he has no rival. It goes without saying how Makidera would react, but this... Sorry. Ghost story expert Himuro, that's her name, Mitsuzuri, and even Tosaka are silently getting ready for the conclusion. It is the same with everyone. Was that, what's his face? Kuzuki? It's the same with everyone. Hold on, there's something weird just now, yeah. Kuzuki sensei is also quietly listening to Issei's story. Our brave leader, Fujine.
虎はなぜ強いと思う？生まれつき怖い話なんて怖くないからだ。
Yeah.
シロたちは生まれつき怖い話に弱いからそんな特訓をしなければならないのだ。
Yes, she's absolutely resistant to horror stories. She had sat on the verge of tears. Now she's already asleep. I think this is what they call abdication of leadership. But since she couldn't let a meeting of a crowd of young people in the dark go unmonitored, she asked Kuzuki-sensei to take the reins of authority.
そうして八八は考える死人になった。だが悲しいかな。ようやく八八が母親の名前を呼べるようになった頃、母親はとうにこと切れておったのじゃ。邪法は母親の体を蝕んでおったのよ。八八は悲しんだ。よみがえったことはさほど嬉しくはない。ただ苦痛に耐えて自分をよみがえらせた母親が不憫でならなかった。そうして八八は自らと同じよう母をよみがえらせようとしたのじゃが、それだけはどうしてもできなかったのじゃ。 母が自分に施した茶道を丁寧に繰り返しても、村人たちの肉を二山三山、血を二川三川使おうとも、母は決してよみがえらなかったのじゃ。
なんでだよ。ゾンビは勝手に増えるじゃんよ。かわいそうだから増やしてやれよ。今時母ちゃんが2人になろうが10人になろうが珍しくないよ。
I don't think there's anyone in the world that has 10 moms. How do you have that? How do you have 10 moms?
あと、なんで口調変わってんだよ、生徒会長。
I mean, it's super effective.
いいところで水を差すな、巻きだろ。この語りは竜道家の決まりなのだ。さもありなん母親と八八では立ち位置が違ったのじゃ。教会の問題でな、いかな邪法秘法を用いようと叶わぬことが一つだけある。それは聖者のみが死者をよみがえらせられる。死者が死者を食ろうて仲間にしたところで生き返らしたことにならぬ。それはすでに人ではなく死体を食うだけの化粧を生み出したに過ぎぬのだ。
That's a good lesson. It is true that the wishes of the dead cannot be granted. It is always the breath of life that causes things to happen. Even if the deceased were to be granted life once again, without a doubt, the dead cannot ever bring back the dead. It has always been like that. Only the living can bring back the dead.
それを知らぬ八八は永遠に血肉を集め続ける。よみがえらぬ母親のために今でも竜道で人の手足を集め続けているという話じゃ。これが冬木に伝わるムクロ塚の八八の影山の臓物墓場の言われである。
Issei ends his tale. The candle is blown out. His turn is over.
今のはそれなりに聞いたわね。寺の息子が寺に泊まっている時に墓場の話をするとは思いませんでした。その大人げなさに脱帽です。
今日はこちらの陣地だからな。仏敵を打ちのめすためなら使えるものは何でも使う。
Who's next? The staple of camping trips. Ghost stories would go around in a circle. It's you, Shido, isn't it?
ほら、次はエミヤの番。
エミヤの番。
生徒会長の後で大変だろうけど、一つ気合の入ったのを頼むわ。
心配には及びません、三辻先輩。先輩、階段には強いですよ。夏場に藤村先生を脅かすのに効果的ですから。
Makidera. Everyone's eyes focus on me. I've got a couple of ghost stories on me, but this is the first time I ever told one to this many people. In fact, I don't really like telling stories in the first place. I can't do the weird dramatization, and I can't really tell if they're good or not.
落ち着いてでいいわよ、エミヤ君。いつも通りでここが土蔵だと思ってればいいんだから。
Well, now I feel awkward. Oh well, it's really not like me, but this is the part of the festival. To wrap up this great trip.
それじゃあ長い話を一つ。
Doing something I usually wouldn't. I start telling my story for the first time. An extract is made from the middle. The tale begins here. an unknown period of time I was crouching down. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Nothing really happened this little chapter segment thing, but I hope you guys found it entertaining. I'm recording this. It is currently 12:57 at night. I have finals tomorrow. Good life choices. So yeah, this is something new I'm trying out. See if you guys liked it. If you did, like the video, subscribe, do all that jazz. Yeah, that's it. I'll see you next time, hopefully.